Evening all, welcome from the sunny Evesham. Today we're streaming. Hello, say hello.
Hello, yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Liz.
Hey, hi, John.
Today we're streaming not at 7 o'clock as we normally do on a Sunday, but we're actually 3:15 on a Thursday, which is a bit unusual. We're with Les, who's in Northwest Wales, and he's going to tell us all about his JBA Falcon, which he's got some stories behind that. So over to you, Les. Tell us about, what your JBA Falcon is, where you got it from, how you came about to choose the JBA from everything else that's out there.
Okay. Well, right. So this is my current one, which is built in 1922. 2022, not 1922, 2022, but it's on an age-related plate of 1980. Now, there's a bit of an issue with that in terms of how the DVLA seem to recognise cars, but anyway, I still have to have it MOT'd, I still have to have it insured, but basically, this is my second JBA. I had a nice white one. And I was doing the eBay thing, as I tend to do quite a lot of, and I just put JBA. The white one was very nice, quite happy with it. This blue one popped up on eBay, and I looked at the spec and I looked at all the photographs, and I thought, my God, that's a really good car. And I know the guy who built it, a fellow called John Watson, who was quite famous for building, I don't know how many of your listeners will know, but he's quite famous for building cars. He's built about 20. He's built about 23 Falcons. He's in his 80s now, and he's still doing it. He's built other cars as well, including Royales, which some people may know of.
Yes.
So I read the spec, and I thought, my God, that's a beautiful car. That's well built. Looking at the spec, it had Spax adjustable suspension on the front, gas on the back. It obviously well coach built, beautiful car. It had a 5-speed box, Type 9 Ford. My other one, the white one, was a 4-speed, and I thought, well, that's a very low starting price. So I thought I'll have a go at this. I'm not going to win it. I expect it to be somewhere in the region of about $8,000 when it goes. But I'll have a go. I'm not going to bid $8,000 because I'm usually happy with the white one. I'm happy with the white one. So what I normally do on eBay, a lot of people do it, about 12 seconds to go, I threw my best bid at it. And bear in mind, it was 100 people had it on watch. Just under 100 people were watching it.
Wow.
So I thought, well, I'm not going to win it. But, if you don't buy a raffle ticket, you don't win. So I threw a bid at it, walked away, come back 10 minutes later, and I'd won it.
And it was yours. Brilliant.
It was mine, and it was at the starting price.
Right.
When I went to pick the card up, it was just north of London. The guy there, very nice guy. He actually knew who I was because I was on the JBA forum, and he recognised me. He'd had a phone call within 50. Well, he'd had a contact on eBay within 15 minutes. Somebody had forgot to, bid, which often happens. Offered him £1,000 more.
Wow.
And lucky for me, he turned it down. He said, "No, I'm an honest guy. This guy's won it." And so if I hadn't turned up, he would have made another £1,000. But there you go.
Yeah.
So
good that you did.
So very.
Up, yeah.
I certainly did. Yeah, I certainly did. I wasn't not going to pass that by. So I had two for a while, and then I sold the white one on to a fellow called Steve Openshaw, who's very happy with the car. And but how I got into JBA and Falcon is that's interesting. Well, interesting to me, maybe a couple of the viewers. I moved to I got married, and I moved to Standish, Wigan.
Yeah. And
unbeknown to me at that time, less than a quarter of a mile down the road was the JBA factory.
That's right. That's where they were based, because I know it was the original company JBA Engineering that was named after the first letters of there was three partners, wasn't it? Ken Jones, John Barlow, and Dave Ashley, which is where
that's right
the JBA came from. And then John Barlow left.
And he started Royal Cars. He started Royal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he went down the route of mainly rebodies as well, so you didn't have to worry about IVA. And then JBA, they ceased in whenever it was, 2000 and whatever. But they're now still making them, aren't they? Based on BMW, the BMW 3 Series, I think.
Yeah, C-series engine.
Yeah,
Straight six, I think it is that they do.
yeah,
I don't know what the prices are now, but no doubt they're considerably more than what
yeah.
they were.
But they're
Yeah,
still going. Yeah,
they're still going. Yeah, there's what's the guy's name? Bill somebody or other. I have spoken to him
yeah.
because it was generally thought that they'd ceased. In fact, it was if you go on like the Wikipedia, they stopped. They went into liquidation and they're no longer building cars. But he contacted me to said because I put it up on our JBA forum. He said it's not true. I'm still doing it to a limited amount. He said you obviously got an engineering company, other thing. His work as took precedent, but he said in 2025 now he hopes to bang up production again, and
Yeah,
start
because
doing.
they resurrected it was the JBA Falcon that was relaunched in the national kit car. It's only, I think it was, in about
That's right.
2011.
Yeah,
2011, I
yeah,
think it was.
yeah. And he does. He builds the Tourer now because there have been various. There's been the 2+2. There's been the
I was going,
Sport.
I was going through those because I know of them. I know of JBA Falcon.
Yeah,
I didn't realise they built so many variants. They had the JBA Falcon Roadster, the
yeah.
JBA Javelin, the Falcon
Well,
Plus
that's a
2,
total different. The Javelin was a total different
totally
car based
different.
on an
Yeah,
XR2. Yeah,
that's the
uh,
one. Yeah,
and then they built the Tourer, which is the one I have, which is the later one
and the
before they moved over.
Falcon Sports,
Yeah.
Falcon SR, which I think did they have the SRI engine in it? I can't remember now. One of them had an
Uh,
SRI
but,
engine, or was that the
well,
TSR? No,
well,
the
they moved
SRI.
from the
Yeah, go on. I'll let you
they
carry on. I'm
moved
waffling. Yeah,
they moved from Cortina underpinnings to Sierra. So
that's
then you've
right.
got the twin cam Pinto engine. Mine's the original Cortina single cam engine, standard engine. And given the fact that it's 1/3 lighter than the original Cortina it was based on, there's plenty of pep. It
Yeah,
goes. It's obviously not a sports car, but it's a very comfortable. You can go a reasonable distance, and the 2 liter Cortina Pinto engine is fine.
yes,
Especially with the
yeah.
5-speed box. I can exceed legal limits should I wish to, but that's beside the point. Not that I ever would.
No,
But
no, no, no. Of course
getting
not.
back to
Go on.
that. So they got married in 1975,
Yeah,
moved to Standish. Children came along, moved to another house, which was just down the road, as I say, from the JBA factory on the Bradley Lane industrial estate in Standish.
yeah.
So I wasn't aware of JBA then. But occasionally I used to see these retro old cars coming up the road, and I thought, where are they coming from? There were people test driving them because they had a show car to test drive, and they
Yeah.
also put on the local shows like the Standish Carnival and Wigan Carnival. They provided a car for the May Queen or whoever it was the day to sit in.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
I went to one of those shows and I saw one and I thought, wow, this is nice, And I had a sat in one and I spoke to whoever it was at the time. But unfortunately, by then I was up to date in a mortgage with young children.
With
Young
young
children
children
come
as well.
along. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had 2 sets of twins, John. Two
Right.
sets of twins in
Wow.
quick succession. So
I've
and
I, I've only got 2 boys, and I know how expensive they are. So yeah, with 2 sets of twins.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So fast forward, God knows how many years, and I was looking at sevens, to be honest with you. And I
Yeah.
was going to local meets, car meets, and there was a guy there at a beautiful Westfield. And I thought, oh my, I got chatting to him. He said, get in it and see what you think. Well,
Yeah.
I'm 75 now, and my first JBA was about 4 years ago now. And I said, how'd you get in it? So he said, well, you put your hand here, put your other hand there, bring your leg over this way, bring this one over. Well, I got in it, and I thought, I might be a bit awful having that cars now. You know, no doors.
No.
Managed to get out, and I thought I need to have a rethink about a 7 car. You know.
Yeah,
So again, JBA wasn't in my mind, but I was going on the various sites, eBay cars, and I was looking at JBAs, but they were all pretty expensive. I was looking at cars up to 17 grand, and I'm thinking, and then on one of the sites, a lad was selling his car at a reasonable price just outside York. He lived. So, cut a long story short, we did a deal. I bought the car off him, and I was quite happy with that until I started looking on eBay, and my current Falcon came up, and it was everything about it was 100% better. The steering, the gearbox, the condition, the build quality. There's nothing wrong with the build quality, but you could tell the difference between a professional. There wasn't a squeak, there's not a squeak or a rattle in the car. And with the SPAC suspension and gas on the back, it rides beautifully.
Makes a huge difference. So JBA Falcon were also well known for their quality, especially of their GRP, the GRP panel. I can't remember who did them now, but yeah, the GRP finish on them was absolutely always top notch. Yeah.
Very, very solid cars, and of course, it's not all GRP. There's aluminium panels as well.
Yes,
I think the door skins, the bonnet is aluminium, and a couple of other panels are aluminium. So it's a mixture of the best of both worlds, I guess. The fenders, or whatever you want to call them, they're GRP. Yeah, they're GRP. And as I say, I knew of John Watson, and he was very highly regarded in terms of build. So when I went down there to pick the car up, I was exceedingly pleased. Everything matched the advert and the photographs that the guy put up, and that's how I come to acquire this one.
Brilliant. Did you drive it back when you picked it up, or did you trailer it back, or?
We trailed it back. I've got a friend who's in the motor trade, and we got a trailer. So it was a good, over 3-hour drive. So I didn't really want to,
got to push it.
As it happens, what I know now, I could have done, but I decided it would be best to bring it back on the trailer. So we brought it back on the trailer. And I've done I've done some mods to it. I put what I consider better wheels on. Nothing wrong with the ones that were there, but these look more of the business.
What style wheels? Have you got wire wheels or?
Well, no, I haven't gone wire, but the Compomotive and the very lattice type of wheel. So I put them on. Everybody agreed. They were for. Well, I got those wheels for nothing. Really? They needed refurbing. Yeah, they needed refurbing, and I managed to get them refurbed for £50 a wheel, and swapped them over. So almost certainly, that was a cash in hand, no receipt, no tech, no EAC. And one of those deals, and sold the other wheels on. I put an operated starter motor on, and I've got lots of personalisation, bits of badges and what have you, to the car, just to make it a bit more to my own personality. I do like the badges. The car's covered in badges. You'll probably see the photograph, the front, on the radiator grille and on the front. There's plenty of various badges on there, similar on the rear as well, with the JBA.
Yeah. We will dig some pictures out, and Jim will put them on over the top of this. But I haven't got any hand to the minute, but I know you send whatever you got through to Jim, and we'll sort that out for you.
Jim's had a load of photographs. In fact, there's a video of my car on JBA, because there's a lot of videos on YouTube of the Falcon, but very few people talk about them. It's just here's my car, but they don't tell you what
what it is.
It's a lot of people want to know. Well, what what engine, what gearbox, what's it made of, etc. So there's a video on my YouTube channel. It's not a purely car thing. It's a bit of an amateur. I've got other hobbies, so there's bits and bobs on there. But I took it to the local park, and I did a walk around, and I did a very amateurish sort of commentary on what it entailed. And
I think
it's up there on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, you have, yeah.
I've seen it because it just gave you you were just going to tell over you of what the car is and what it's. Because as I say, I knew of JBA Falcon. I never knew they made so many different ones, so many different variants. Until I looked into it. And you're right, you don't see many videos of JBA out there, which is a shame because I love them. I think they're great looking cars.
There's plenty on YouTube, but as I say, there's either no commentary or very little commentary. I think there's one or two as somebody's put, a mega engine in one, a really souped up engine in one, and he talks about that. And there is a JBA series on there of building the car because most people, the biggest complaint most people have is that the instruction, when you buy the kit, the instructions leave a lot to be desired. So but obviously I didn't build the car. Actually, I bought that car a hell of a lot cheaper than if I bought a kit and sourced an engine and everything else, because the other sad thing is they're greatly undervalued in this country. A lot of cars, I'm speaking to a lady last night who's in the club. She's just sold her father's car, who unfortunately had to go onto a home with dementia. And a guy in France has bought it.
Right.
Now, there's a lot in Australia, believe it or not. Quite a few in Australia. There was a franchise in Australia for JBA.
I didn't know that.
And what tends to happen, the French, Germans, Belgians, the car's worth at least twice as much in those countries.
Especially
so if you sell it.
Yeah,
you sell a JBA, an average price for a reasonable one is around about 7. You can pay a lot more. You go to dealers. I've seen them for 17 with the BMW engine and things, which is, maybe even dearer. But over in the continent, they're at least twice the price, and they value kit cars over there a lot more than they do here.
Yeah.
I still have to have it, MOT and tax and everything. If it was in France, because we've got members in France, and one lad in particular is more or less emigrated over there, bought a farmhouse, did it up kind of thing, and he said there's so much more respected over there by classic car enthusiast side, and I think there is a little bit of a stigma when I'm at shows. You can see some people saying, it's a kit car, at a classic car shows. You can tell that they're not right. Well, it's not really, a classic car or whatever. Not that it bothers me, but the general public, the people who aren't necessarily into cars, they love it.
Know. Yeah, and they don't. They wouldn't really know. They wouldn't really know. Yeah.
And what they usually say to you, is there a Morgan? You say, no, no, it's not a Morgan. But there's another interesting fact you might be. There's a magazine called Autocar, and I think in 1983, now Autocar aren't a kit car magazine. They're a standard car. I don't know whether they're still going, but I've got the magazine here. It's a very good review, and they pitched the Falcon of the day against the Morgan of the day.
I've seen something on that somewhere, and they favoured the Falcon, didn't they?
They did. The only the only thing the Morgan beat it on, if you can call it that, was its reputation. It's a Morgan, its heritage. That was the first thing. The second thing, it had a 2.9 Granada, the Morgan, 2.9 injection Granada engine in, whereas the Falcon had a 2-litre Pinto like mine. Yeah. So obviously the performance was greatly different.
Yeah.
One was capable of doing. Well, the Morgan was capable of doing 120 odd mile an hour. I know mine could do probably about 90, roughly. Yeah. I've never taken it to those kind of limits. But you're right.
That's all you need on UK roads, and they're not built to be out and out racers. They're built to be tourers anyway. So
well, that's right. And just about everything else, the Falcon came up better, and they said at a third of the price.
Yes.
Now I spoke to John Barlow on the internet, and I mentioned the magazine, and they said I wouldn't have thought Morgan would have been that happy with the with the article. And let's put it this way, he said, you can damn you. They certainly were very happy at all. I think whether they advertised on, they probably do advertise on the Auto Car at the time. Whether they pulled their adverts, for I don't know. But
Not happy.
but it's remarkable that a kit car costing, a third of the price of the Morgan, beat it on comfort. They built it on even the pedal box,
cockpit space and everything.
Comfort,
cockpit space and everything, wasn't it? Yeah.
The ride quality, even the ride they talked about the Morgan, when it hit potholes or any bit of a bump, sort of steering not being up to it. Everything else, the Falcon wiped the floor with, which is some people might find hard to believe, but that magazine's out there. I've got it.
I've got it out there.
Article somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's more or less my story at the moment. Apart from the fact somebody tail-ended me on Friday and done a bit of damage, which I'm hoping will get repaired.
Did he just not see you, or just?
I don't know. Well, I turned left at a T-junction. I was glad to put the car away, and it was a lovely evening like today. I thought, I'll just go for a little drive, and I'll put it straight in the garage. So I'm coming back. I'm literally 2 minutes from home. I did a left-hand turn at a T-junction. There are cars on my right at the traffic lights waiting to turn right, and there's about half a dozen police cars coming towards me, blues and twos, sirens going. So I was up right, okay, indicate quick, pull right over. Now, he didn't hit me a minute ago. There was 2 or 3 seconds before he hit me.
Really?
And that's a bit, which I don't understand. So, lucky enough, there was a police car behind him following us. And it was 50 yards from the police station.
Right.
So he pulled alongside. He said, just pull into the station there. So the 2 of us pulled in. We got breathalyzed. I was all right. I presume he was all right. He was a decent enough fella. He held his hand up and said, oh, yeah. I said to him, did you not see the police cars coming towards us? He said, I heard them, but I didn't see them. Well, the fact that you hear it should heighten your senses. You're thinking, there's an ambulance or something coming either behind me or in front. It's either coming towards you or behind you. So I don't know, maybe he was fiddling. You don't know, fiddling with his phone or something, taking his eyes off, not realise I'd indicated and pulled over. And I didn't slam on, because I could see a reasonable distance, and I slowed down and pulled in. About 2-3 seconds, boom.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Anyway, but it's still
drivable.
Still drivable. It's not major damage, though, is it?
No.
Something could be repairable. You're not knackered the chassis or anything like that, no?
Well, we haven't looked on. I'm going to take it somewhere because I want to look under the chassis, but I don't think the chassis is a problem, because if you know the chassis it's a ladder frame chassis, which is
pretty strong.
Pretty strong. His car come up quite bad. I mean, he had one of these new TS something, the biggest thing, white thing, and the front bumper was smashed, the trunk was out of it, a big crack in it, So that's going to cost him a few bob. But originally he wanted to pay out of his own pocket, but I think he realised it was going to cost too much,
No, definitely. Well, you still should report, even if you do, you should still report it through to your insurance. If you let him do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, he's going through his insurance. Obviously, I've been in touch with it's clear cut, and then the guy opened up to it. So I've spoken to his insurance. They rang me yesterday. RAC, he's insured with, and saying, look, we've admitted liability. Go out and get some quotes and that, So. We'll see how much that comes to, but the rear carrier that I have, it goes over the spare wheel, and I put my biscuit, picnic basket on. That's all twisted, and one of the legs is pushed through into the boot, straight through the boot lid into the car. So that's going to need some doing. I priced up a carrier, 350 quid for a carrier.
Wow. And that'll be VAT on top of that.
Oh well, there'll be that. And they do probably have to fill a hole, have to respray the boot lid and whatever. So by the time you finish, you probably that the number plate was broken. The number plate, there's 2 lights either side of the number plate. One of them just got smashed off, So because he's hit me at a slight angle. I think he tried when he realised. I think he tried to square around me. I don't know why he did that, but he's never going to get round me. And so he caught me at the front corner, passenger side of his. Went into the back of mine, So
right, yeah.
And that's the first time I've had an accident in about 45 years.
I must admit, in cars, I've only ever had one accident, and that's because some bloke just pulled out and just T-boned me.
Yeah.
That was years ago. And my driving license is still clean. That's been clean since I was 24, I think, and I'm knocking on a bit now.
Mine's clean. Mine's been clean for about, I had a speeding offence from years ago, but that's going back 20 years ago since I had I had one of them, or I don't drive. I've done track days and all that. I've done all the fast cars, Porsches, Lamborghinis, and on tracks and things, track days. So I'm a bit more reserved. I'm a motorbike person, really, because I'd always had motorbikes. I had a beautiful BSA A7 shooting star, and I'd had 2 accidents on bikes. The usual thing. Sorry, mate, didn't see you. Pulled out, T-boned, and I'd done my shoulder, did my wrist, and I thought, I saw my BSA, and I was anchoring after, I was like a bike again. And then when my head said, don't. My heart said, buy a bike. My head said, don't be daft. You're 75. You don't, tarmac doesn't get any harder. There's that many idiots in cars. So that's when I started looking at a four-wheel bike, as in the sevens.
That's in the sevens, yes.
Yeah, and which is like, was going to be replaced. So when people say, have you still got a bike? I said, no, that's my bike. The Falcon's my bike now, yeah.
You're very similar to me, because I didn't pass my car test till I was 24. I was always riding bikes, going to work and back and traveling around everywhere.
Same as me. Yeah, same as me.
And I only passed my car test. I had 2 weeks to pass my car test. I got a cancellation with a learner driver woman that taught me, because I was moving down to London, and I thought, I am not riding around London on a motorbike. It wasn't quite London. It was in Maidenhead. And I thought, no, I need a car. So I had 2 weeks. So I got that all passed. And then when it came round to kit cars, I always, like you, hankered after another bike. I've still got a couple of bikes. My son mainly rides them. But that's why our 7 was always going to be a bike engine car. And it is now. Yeah, Yamaha R1 bike engine in it. And it is a bit leery. It is a bit mad. We don't go mad on the road. We don't go mad on the road because we know what it's capable of. So but I mean, you presumably get the same thing with other people pulling up alongside you, revving their engines and race type thing, and we just don't. It's just we just don't bother.
Well, you don't get that with a Falcon. You don't get that with a Falcon.
A bit more gentleman-like.
Yeah, maybe. But the Falcon's one of those cars. If you don't like attention, don't buy a Falcon. If you don't like people waving to you don't like people asking you questions, but the general public are very appreciative. They say, "Oh, what a beautiful car!" They ask you about it. It's the classic car enthusiasts that are a bit more, the nose fear kind of thing. Not all, but you get a few of that kind of side of things, So is it like some?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit with the Northwest Coroners group of mini kits and things like AK sports cars, and there's loads I've missed off there, and like MEV. But they've been doing the NEC classic car shows and things like that, and the NEC have really opened up, because before, a couple of years ago, you got no chance of getting in with a kit car or displaying a kit car. But these years they really welcome, and the feedback I've got from the trade people that were displaying there, as I say, like AK and MEV Exocet. Absolutely brilliant feedback from the public. Really interesting. So it is getting out there again, I think.
The other thing about I was going to say about the Morgan, if you think about it logically, a Morgan's a kit car.
Well, it is. Yes.
I look at it, it's got a BMW engine, a gearbox, the running. How much Morgan actually make? They're not making the rear axles. They're not making the brakes. They're making the bodywork and things.
Bodywork, many bodywork.
The difference is it's made in a factory.
Yes, in Malvern. It's not far from me, Malvern. Yeah, Malvern's not far from me. I've never been. I ought to go for like an open day or a tour round or whatever they call it. But
they do them regularly, don't they?
Yeah. I've been following. There's been a couple of series on TV about Morgan and how it nearly went bust and how it got rescued, and it's been passed down to the son now. All this kind of things. They can follow the lineage. Some of the designs. I mean, the one with the cross-eyed headlights. That just didn't do it for me.
Richard Hammond bought one, didn't he? Richard Hammond bought one.
Yeah, a silver one. Yeah.
And I looked at it and I thought, that looks like a frog with a cross-eyed frog or something. It didn't work that well for me. No.
I didn't get why you'd want to place the lights for that, because I could see no benefit of having your headlights pointing in. I think they were, weren't they?
Well, they look that way. They look that way, but sometimes things are a bit an illusion when you get up to them. They're not. But whether I don't know why you would. That's the way they look. You're quite right. That they look that way. Whether they were like that in actual, when you looked up to them, I don't know. Seems a very strange idea, very strange design. But yeah, I agree with you. They did nothing for me. That car.
No. And I was following the new one, which came out. Was it last year? I can't even remember the name of it now. I did have a look at it.
Yeah.
It had a bit of a weird back end on it. It had like a almost a cut-off back end on it. It wasn't rounded at all. It was I'm trying to think of it, a bit like a Mini Marcos back end. Nothing like a Mini Marcos, but like the Mini Marcos had that cut-off back end. It was a bit like that. It looked all right. But when you looked at the price, it was like, no. I think it's about 100 grand or something. Don't quote me on that. You'd have to have a look at it, but it was a serious amount of money. It was.
Oh yeah, mental. Yeah. Well, another little story. Less than 3 years ago, now a very good friend of mine saw one of them each day. We take our dogs out together. Unfortunately, it's a sad story. But he used to come out with he had a brand new Mustang. There was only 3 in the country, special edition, 3 in the country. He bought it brand new, got it off the docks, went down to the docks, Liverpool, seen it coming off the docks. He ordered it in advance. And I've been out with him in it, and he'd been out in the Falcon. And he said to me one day, you know what, Les? I know the Mustang, he'd always had Porsches and things. He said, I know it's a fantastic car, the Mustang, but I don't feel as if I'm driving anything special. I said, oh, it's strange. Yeah. He said, I fancy a Morgan. So I said, right. I said, right, okay. So we arranged to go to the dealers. I think it was Nantwich. I always get mixed up between Nantwich and Northwich. But we went to the main dealers. To the main dealers, and we had a look round. Now he had a bit of a problem with his hip, and we got it. He got in one, and he was pressing the clutch. The clutch was ridiculously heavy. Why I don't know. Yeah, and he said, I can't drive a manual. He said within no time my hip would be playing up. So the salesman was all over us. So he said, well, we can spec a car for you, because they had 1 or 2 autos in, but they weren't the colour that did anything for them.
Automatic would ruin it, I think. For me personally. Yeah. Well,
he decided, well, okay, I'll go for a match. So we sat down and we spec'd the car. So you start from basics. What colour do you want? What wheels? What this? What that? What dash? What steering wheel? What gear? You name it. Everything's like you build a car. 70 odd grand, right? You come to.
Wow.
So he said, right. He said, you put 10% deposit down today. In 3 months' time, your car is ready.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, between now and then, the price of the car is going up. We don't know how much, but Morgan have told us the price is going up. Even if you put 10% deposit down today, you have to pay the extra in 3 months' time.
If it goes up, it goes up. Yeah.
Well, he stood up.
Right away. Yeah.
Well, he stood up and he said, well, I'll tell you what. You're telling me you can't hold that price. I'll come back in 3 months' time. I'll either buy the brand new car, or what I'll do, I'll buy one that's 12 months old or something like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, between now and then, he got cancer and died.
Such a shame. He should have. Well,
the only good thing was his widow wasn't left with a brand new Morgan on the drive to dispose of. And we
not much use to her, really. Yeah.
No, we were the best of friends, and I miss him to this day. Because we were out every day with our dogs. We've got a great big park here called Wepper Park. Beautiful place. And we go there. We used to go there basically every day with the dogs and that. And, we were very close. And unfortunately, such is life, But listen, he never got his Morgan.
But at least he had the fun in the cars that he did have, like his Mustang and trips out and things.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
I think once you're petrol head, you're always a petrol head. So, yeah.
Back in the day, that Porsches, they had 2.8 Capri, which you wrote off. And really, he liked it. Yeah,
They're worth a
like
fortune.
as
The old
much as
2.8. 2.8 Capris are worth a
yeah.
fortune these days. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they are. Well, I had a 2 litre GL, and I wish you had it now because that was a really nice car as well. But you know, if we knew then what we knew now, I had a
Yes.
Mark One Escort. You know, you're thinking, oh the price of them. And
Yeah.
minis, I don't get. I get the attraction
No.
of a mini. I just don't see where the money is. See how
No, I
much?
don't. Yeah, from an original one, it was
Yeah.
absolutely stupid money. And then, like the newer
Oh,
one,
yeah.
I mean, my son had one of the newer Mini Coopers, second hand. It was quite an old one, but they're
Yeah.
just so big. They're so big. I mean, it was a great handling car, but you couldn't half feel the extra weight in it over
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
original one. Yeah, just
Yeah.
phenomenally heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. But they reckon the classic car market's, you know, on a bit of a dive price wise. But all these
Bit of a
people
downturn.
paying big money for, you know, Mark One Escorts and original minis, sooner or later they're going to pop and they're going
Yes.
to come down. Because what happens as people get older, it's like pre-war cars now. They can't sell them, but they can't sell them for a decent price because the people who would be interested are not there anymore. They've passed on.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
so the people in the 50s don't really remember those in the 50s and 60s. You don't really remember those cars with any kind of affection. You know, pre-war cars. You know,
Yeah.
so you hear about Matthews and that, and they're saying it's tragic
They
because
said the same.
people
They
just
said
people
the
just don't
same
want them.
thing. Yeah, it's great series that I always watch that when it comes up, Bangers and Cash and the
Yeah,
restoration and stuff that they do. But they're saying the same things, and it was the same thing with cars like yours, where wedding cars. It would have made a great wedding car, but people are getting married now in the place where they go to, so they don't need a wedding car to get them there, type thing. So
yeah,
the
yeah.
market's gone out of wedding cars as well, I think, which is what they
But
said.
you
I don't
see,
know. But,
well, what I'm seeing is a lot of Beauforts with the car for weddings, weren't they? I've
yes,
seen a few businesses selling their cars on now for the
yes.
Beauforts. Is that pronounced the right pronunciation? Is it
Yes,
Beaufort?
that's what. Yeah, I did like,
Right.
but the only thing I didn't like, which to a car buff, anybody that knows anything about minis, you couldn't half spot the mini doors on it. But then they changed. I think they
Yeah,
changed they swapped the later ones to slightly different doors. I think. But that, as soon as I look at a Beaufort, I always look at the doors and think that's a mini door. That is great,
yeah,
great
yeah,
car, a lovely car, the big old presence on the road.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's bits of mini on my car. The wipers are mini because it's 3 wipers. You know, so they're mini wipers, and I think part of the actual the registration light they're mini as well. But I think that's the only parts that are actually mini on it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I think the windscreen wiper motor might be mini, possibly. Can't remember
Yeah,
now.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
mini heaters. A lot of the heaters in cars are always mini because of the size of them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I was speaking to a guy who was at the show. I hadn't seen in all the time I've had a Falcon, and I've been to quite a few shows. There's loads of shows around here, basically every weekend, and I hadn't seen another Falcon, not one. On Sunday there was 3 of us at the
Right. Wow.
The Wirral Classic show. Yeah, and the guy had the other one. He was a mechanic, and he'd fitted their power steering to it from a
Okay.
Corsa.
Yeah,
Power
yeah.
steering from a Corsa.
Of
Yes,
course.
he was a mechanic. Yeah, a Corsa's power steering thing. So there are people who fitted thing power steering, but it doesn't really bother me the power steering. You know, once you move, it's no problem.
Yes.
It's just that
Yeah.
you know if you're doing a 3.10, there's a lot of you know, but that's you know unless you've got a problem with your arm or something, it's not a problem. You know,
Yeah.
not to me
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
Are you looking at coming to the Malvern Kit Car Show? It's kind of like
Pro-
your
pro-
not
yeah,
far.
probably not. Probably not. We're on holiday next week. Um, I've got quite a few shows booked up. I went Wirral. I've got uh,
There's loads in the northwest. Yeah. Yeah.
not well even North Wales.
Wales.
We've got Kerwis
Yeah, yeah.
coming up, Horden, Prestatyn. We've also got there's a couple of others. Well, they're all charity, free to put your card on.
Yes.
Uh, a lot of people aren't happy with these ones where they want to charge you £7.50 to put your car on and everything like that. I've been to a few of them, but there's that many charity ones where they're very appreciative to put your car on, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that they don't charge you anything to charge. I think on Sunday they were charging the general public £2 to come in, but it all goes to charity. So
like
I'm
a
happy to
donation.
support.
Yeah,
I'm
like
happy
a donation type
to
thing.
support.
Yeah.
I quite like to support them, the local charities and things, hospices and air ambulances and whatever. Quite happy to support those and go to those. So I go to about during the summer, around about 6 shows. I do sawn the car come end of September, bring it out again in April. Sawn it
Yes.
and start it up, move it up backwards and forwards. Put it away once every 5 or 6 weeks. And big cover over it in the garage, and it's a summer car. It's a toy for me for the summer.
Yeah. Just a great way to get about, and just a great touring car. Especially when you get nice weather. We've had some weather these last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, we were out yesterday, even though with the damage, and we went through a run we like to do, which is about an hour to a place called Desert. And when you go into the scenery, there's a big sign saying area of outstanding natural beauty.
Yeah.
As you're going along, and it's on the road sign, and you go through in the valleys, and it's beautiful. We stopped at a little roadside inn called the New Inn in Desert, had a bite to eat, and the shandy, come along, run back along the coast road. Absolutely wonderful,
Brilliant.
Lovely day, hood down, sun. My wife loves going out, and she won't come to shows. She said it's boring old men talking about boring old cars. She's not far wrong, though. She's not far wrong.
No, she's not. I'm just thinking, it's just men stood around cars. Oh, nice engine. What have you done to that? What have you done to this? How did you fit that?
That's it. Yeah. We'll still get out of it. We're away. We're in Port Maddox next week from Monday to Friday. We can take the dog with us and that. So car will be away. Then it'll be out. But I've got to get round to getting these estimates for repairs. It wouldn't surprise me because by the time they finish, I'm expecting something over £1,000 because they're going to have to repair the boot now.
Probably more, probably a little bit more than that. I think we're going to have to match the paint and that kind of stuff. Which is not a big deal these days. Nearly all garages can match paint codes.
I didn't know I didn't actually know the proper colour of my car. And when I first got it, I got it detailed. A guy came to the house and it wasn't like half a day, but he spent a good 2.5 hours on it. Did a really nice job. So I said to him, he mentioned about the colour. I said, I don't know what colour it is. It's a Polish guy, really nice. He said, I'll come back tomorrow. He come back with one of these spectrometer things.
Yeah.
Put it on the car, and he said, it's Mazda Space Blue.
Wow.
And he came back the following day with a little pot of paint for me.
Him. And they're the people you
need. And it cost me £100, 2.5 hours. He had all the machinery and the polishers and that. He spent 2.5 hours. I'd already watched the car. 2.5 hours on it, and it cost me £100. Sorry, £100. £100. Yeah, 100 quid. Got a little pot of paint, and I know what the colour is and everything now. So I can highly recommend him. And he has a little portfolio with the BMs and the Porsches and things he's done, So he actually works for a company 5 days a week doing that kind of thing.
He's not
weekends.
I'm trying to think his name. Not Piotr. You got any idea what his name is? His name will ring a bell if it's the one. If it's the person I'm thinking of.
3 letters. 3 letters.
No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. But I know there's a guy. I know there's another Polish guy up that way. Yeah. He's got his own BCP Car Care. I think his website is.
MCP. MCP was it? MCP rings a bell.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Anyway,
weekends and evenings in the summer, he works for. He does them himself. So he's obviously making himself a few bob out of it. So
brilliant.
So that was over 2 years ago. He did that for me.
Brilliant. Well, I hope you get your repair sorted soon and get it. I mean, the thing is, it's still drivable, so you can still use it. So, brilliant. So we'll wrap it up there for the moment. I'll touch base with Jim and we'll get some pictures in on this. So been brilliant talking to you about your JBA. Obviously, you're totally in love with it. Would you ever sell it? I guess not.
Oh, it's a keeper. When I go, my wife might sell it, or if it pass on to my kids. None of them are interested.
No,
No, it's. I've had people asking me, how much is it worth? Do you want to sell it? Not interested. No, I'm not selling it. It's not.
no.
It's a keeper. The first one I would sell. This one. This is the keeper. I'm hanging on to this one. The only thing I have considered would be a Royale, but no, I think I'll stay with the Falcon. The Royale is it's a bigger car and
I was going to say
whatever.
the Royale's a huge, big thing, isn't it? Yeah, a lot bigger. Yeah.
No, the Falcon is ideal, and it's a keeper. So it's staying. Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Brilliant speaking to you then. We'll catch up soon.
Yep.
In the meantime, if I see you at any shows or whatever, we'll catch up then. But in the meantime, everybody, be seeing you.
Yeah.
Cheers, Les.
And thanks everybody. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.